Hello TV fans and welcome to Lost in the Reel. Today I'm going to be covering the reboot, revival, sequel series, or whatever you'd like to call it, of Criminal Minds, aptly titled Criminal Minds Evolution. Does this newly minted series on Paramount Plus attempt anything different now that it's on streaming, or is it just more of the same? Let's talk about it. Criminal Minds Evolution stars Joe Mantegna, Aisha Tyler, Adam Rodriguez, Paget Brewster, AJ Cook, and Kirsten Vangsness. This new series follows the BAU as they face off with their greatest threat yet, an unsub who has used the pandemic to build a network of other serial killers. Now, as the world opens back up, the network goes operational, and our team must hunt them down one murder at a time. The original Criminal Minds ran 15 seasons with a whopping 324 episodes, and still to this day is one of the most watched shows in syndication. And while its two spin-offs Beyond Borders and Suspect Behavior failed to find an audience, it was only a matter of time before this show was rebooted. But I never imagined that it would be so soon, and with many of the same cast members returning. The show just finished its long run in 2020, and now 2 years later, here we are with Evolution. Before I get started with my review, I want to preface that I have been a huge fan of Criminal Minds since its very first episode in 2005. So I have a soft spot in my heart for this series. It's a show that, despite its grisly nature, is something I watch as guilty pleasure comfort food. Furthermore, Paramount graciously provided critics with 2 episodes ahead of release, so this will be more of my non-spoiler initial thoughts on this revival, rather than an in-depth review of the entire season. Now, let's talk about the huge elephant in the room, which is the absence of Matthew Gray Gubler as Dr. Reed, who was in nearly every episode of the original show. For me, Gubler and Kirsten Vangsness as Garcia played my favorite characters, so I was gutted to hear that he would not be returning. From what I've heard though, both he and Daniel Henney, who played Simmons, have not counted out returning to the show just yet. But it was more of a case that their schedules just didn't coincide with shooting for this season. And instead of the writers killing their characters off, they have expertly created a loophole for them to return if they wish. Yet, as much as I love Reed, I was surprised by how quickly I came to terms with his absence. That's all due to the fact that this cast has such wonderful chemistry that they've built with each other throughout the years. And a few cast members missing doesn't take away from that. I also feel as though the writers have made it a point to focus on deeper character development in this new series. Though Criminal Minds has always worked because it wasn't just about the crimes, but the people that solved them, the original show would usually dedicate just a few small moments each episode to further characters' story arcs. But with Evolution, I can tell the writers have a little more room to breathe, where they can give their ensembles some excellent scenes of real substance and growth. This leads me to Evolution's new format, which is what I was most excited about going in. While Criminal Minds was relegated to the new case every week framework, the fact that Evolution was going to streaming promised that it could do something completely different. And initially, when the plot was released, it sounded as if the showrunners were going to have the entire season be centered around a single case. I was thrilled by the prospect of this because I always felt that having to cram an entire mystery into 40 minutes was too much of a rush. It's hard to set up the crime, introduce victims and suspects, build tension, and keep the audience guessing when all you're doing is constantly racing to get to the finish line. Sadly, I was let down in episode 1 when it seemed that they were just gonna be doing the case of the week again. And while they are doing that, in episode 2, they more clearly set up that this season will have an overarching mystery that will connect each of these cases together. How are they doing that? By introducing a mastermind serial killer who has created a network of like-minded sadists online during the pandemic. And the BAU must track down each of these killers, one per episode, in hopes that they will lead them to the big bad. There's a part of me that is content with this plot, as it gives room to build nuance in the main mystery, all the while giving viewers that quick fix they have come to expect from the show as well. But there's another part of me that would have liked for them to have taken a big risk with this reboot, and had the focus be on one case spanning 10 episodes, with no mini cases acting as a distraction. But maybe in season 2 they could try something like this. I think my biggest takeaway from these 2 episodes is that the showrunners have not taken advantage of the freedom that being on a streaming platform provides. While there are a few tweaks here and there, like a shorter season, the minor change in format, and a couple of expletives that would not fly on network TV, Criminal Minds Evolution is pretty much just more of the same. I was expecting possibly a bigger budget, with higher production value, and more of a refined touch. But in that way, this show has not evolved at all. The thing is though, that's okay. For now. I don't think this revival was made to pick up a bunch of new fans, even though the writers have done a great job of cluing anyone in who is fresh to the franchise. Evolution was definitely made for people like me, who have spent way too many hours of their life watching the BAU catch serial killers. And the showrunners have delivered exactly what those fans have come to love about this show. I just hope that in season 2, they decide to take more risks and try something completely new. So I will be giving Criminal Minds Evolution episodes 1 and 2 3 Garcias out of 5. This quasi-reboot starts off with an intriguing overarching case and excels in giving our core cast time to shine. Being a huge fan of this franchise, I can't help but be fired up by the sheer existence of new episodes. Yet so far, Criminal Minds Evolution hasn't really evolved at all. It's satisfied in just being more of the same. Thank you so much for watching Lost in the Reel. What are your thoughts on Criminal Minds Evolution? Are you sad to see that Matthew Gray Gubler isn't returning so far? And would you like to see the showrunners drop the case a week format completely? Or are you happy they seem to be sticking to it? Sound off in the comment section down below. And until next time, my friends, take care.